2B, unless you're a very specific kind of character, 2B kind of forces everybody to play her game. That's one of the reasons she's so good. Because essentially with 2B, you are... Again, there are some characters, but essentially you are just not going to beat 2B in neutral. Good luck. You can try. I'm rooting for you. You know, I'm your biggest fan, but you're not gonna do it. So usually you kind of have to like let her, you know, win the neutral, let her burn herself out, you know, run her pressure with her skill gauge, get her plus frames, whatever. And then once she's out of skill, her pressure becomes a lot more linear, and or she has to either take really big risks or give you your turn back, essentially. All right, folks. So ad break just started. That's funny, but we are back for more Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising here. Replay reviews. Been a while. Been a couple. By my count, it's been about 2 weeks actually since I did these. Oh, I guess I didn't do them last week because last week was all Vicala stuff, right? Like just like Vicala trailers and all that. So that's why I feel like it's been a while since we did this. But yeah, replay review. August 26th. So I mean, we jumped ahead a little bit. We're firmly in the Versucha patch now. Again, it is. You know, we're horribly behind. On the bright side, obviously I mentioned about the Vicala patch and the fact that, you know, there ended up not being any really big changes in that. That's a little unfortunate in some ways, but I understand why, with them trying to save everything for probably Season 2, right? Not touch anything too hard before then, gather data and all that. But on the bright side of that, it means that even though this is from before the Vicala patch, it doesn't really matter because nothing changed mechanically. The rank system changes are pretty big, the training mode changes are pretty big, but like, you know, your character is probably, outside of some bug fixes, like characters do like double U fireball stuff to break combo limits that happen kind of across the board. Your character is probably exactly the same. So we can give, finally, not outdated advice for a different patch cycle. So, S-Rank CAG, regarding matchup unfamiliarity. This is Kurusu Z here. They join, I believe, the intermediate bracket pretty often. I definitely recognize their name. But they want some feedback on 2 matches they played here against a Charlotta and against a 2B, right? And they specify a couple of things. So, for Charlotta, they want to know how to get out of the Sword of Lumiel block strings. Many of the flaws in my gameplay is appreciated. And then for matchup, they just don't know what to do against 2B. Got it. Yeah, it's curious. Obviously, I'm not a CAG player, but usually with stuff like this, especially, I mean, when we're talking about, like, S-Rank and stuff like that, we talk about fundamentals a lot more, right? Now, again, Kurusu, I'm pretty sure... Kurusu S++? I can't remember. It's been 2 months, so a lot of this, Kurusu might know a lot of what I'm about to say at this point, but, you know, it might be useful for anyone else who's watching. Let's go. Let's just, you know, I take my time, I always take my time getting into these, and we already take a long enough yapping about them, so let's just get into it. What's going on, Dirter? Is my window open, or is that just really loud banging outside? Regardless, as always, you know it is, with the replay reviews, we like to pause as like a basic layer 1 idea of how to look at what you did wrong. We like to pause and think whenever you lose your turn or get hit, generally. Just a good way to analyze your own reviews. Again, if you never get hit and you never lose your turn, then you will win by definition. So obviously there can be more nuanced interactions there, but those are the big ones usually that lead to you dying, right? Besides that, there's also the question of, again, as a layer 1 way of looking at a matchup, who's the aggressor and defender here. I mean, I feel like it's pretty obvious, right? CAG's not a zoner, right? I feel like that is a misconception that I see sometimes. CAG is not a zoner. CAG is a set play character with zoning tools, basically, right? CAG, she can kind of zone like Ladiva, but she really can't zone most of the cast. With that in mind, though, right? CAG is still going to be benefiting from this sort of like mid-range distance much more than Charlotta will. Charlotta can't do basically anything if she's not right in your face. Whereas CAG, obviously, you know, she wants to be right in your face, having the corner of the trap set up, but you can get those setups off of some mid-screen hits with some trap combos, you know, get the knockdown, take it to the corner, set the traps up, go from there. So, a more defensive bent in general to the playstyle for Kurusu here is probably what I'd be expecting, but let's see. Like, kind of, she's gonna do this, right? She's gonna try and come in and kill you. So, like, trying to punish her for her attempts to get in at some point, you know, have her go over a trap or, you know, set up some traps when you get some space and throw her into them in combo or something like that. And then once you get your hits, put them in the corner and try to kill them, right? Phantom Ash, hello. How's it going? Okay, not bad so far. I mean, yeah, they're kind of, I mean, if Charlotte, she's gonna do this is kind of perfect, right? Okay, yeah, I mean, that's kind of ideal. Because, I mean, I would say, I mean, again, I'm no CAG expert, I know. But, like, I'm pretty sure you want to set up your traps off this. Again, I'm not going to give you too much, like, CAG-specific advice, but your win condition is basically getting someone in the cage there in the corner, right? And then, like, you know, 6-6-emming or back throwing or throw teching, like, that's where CAG's offense gets really scary. is when she has the traps and any one of those little tiny hits converts into like your whole health bar. So like when you get this throw, you probably want to maybe that far M even was an attempt to do so, but you really want to, like, once you get a handle on Charlotta, once you get the reins on her, you really want to let her not get out, right? But she is going to be trying to kill you the entire time. Far H jail? Yeah. Okay, so this is interesting. So, okay, right away, right? Okay, so they say Sword of Lumiel block strings, right? I was thinking of a different thing. Right away, I have an answer for you. And Kurisu, you probably know this already to be at this point. I think like this is a relatively, but if you didn't know this is just minus on block. The light slashes from Charlotta here. Like it's just not her turn after. Right? Like she can't do this. Whenever you see those light so okay. So let me talk about this in a little bit more detail here. Let's pull up the Dust Loop page for Charlotta real quick. This is Ladiva. I'm just kind of using it as a springboard. But yeah, you're talking about those Sword of Lumiel blocks. I think you knew that it was fake. You just didn't know how, right? This, like, straight up, she just can't do this. She has two different Swords of Lumiel that aren't, like, cooldowns or resources, right? There's the light and the medium one. The medium one is +1 on block. The light one's -2 on block. You can tell these apart very easily because of the medium one, she goes fucking ham. She slices, like, 17 times. In the light one, it's just like bump, 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 and then she stops, right? So like this, like again, -2, +1. The medium one, funny enough, if you think he's gonna do it, like auto combo into medium Sword of Lumiel, you can spot dodge it, basically on startup there. It'd be a hard call out, but you can spot dodge it and she's -2 instead of +1. You can take your turn back, but that's not what's happening here. You are, again, like this right here, this sequence is just not real. At any point after any of these light slashes, just hit far L and she does, right? Like, when you see her stop early like that, 1, 2, 3, again, she goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or something on the medium. It's a really big difference in the animations. When you see her just do like, 3 into stop like that, just match far L. You didn't notice the first time, you should definitely notice that time right there. What's going on, Echo? Right? So that's just minus on block. Yeah, no need to brave counter out of that. You just got knowledge check though. You just didn't know. And I'm sure, again, someone probably pointed that out to you. But again, Kurisu probably knows this at this point. If you didn't, if you don't know how to fight Charlotta, those light Sword of Lumiels, she goes just triple slash this. Oh, see, so you can tell that. So I could tell that even from the start of the animation, but you see how, like, she kind of, like, really leans into this one a little bit more at the start? Like, even before you see the slashes, she just, like, really puts her weight behind it a little bit more right there. And that's the medium ones, right? That one's plus. Also, if you don't want to look at the animation where it starts up, she also goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right? It's twice as many slashes as the light one. So, again, that one's +1. That one you have to respect if you block it, right? But there is a gap in the block string there, or you can spot dodge it. The light ones, she's a straight up minus. Just kill her for those. If she tries to go, like, button after that. She can't try to mix it up on you, but again, at least the light ones, yeah, like this right here, that's the, yeah. So you don't know. But this is going to be super... I mean, you did try to match there, but I think you matched on a delay, right? Maybe you matched a heavy button? I wish we had the input log up. I can't quite tell what you tried to do here. Oh, because you got hit on, like, the frame you started doing something. Like, Kag is still in her idle animation. Yeah, I'm not sure what you tried to do, but again, you're plus here. You just want to match like a 6 or 5 frame button, right? If you match like your 2L from here, you should beat just about anything. And if she has her like 5L, which I think she's in far L distance anyway, but if she has her close L, you'll still beat that, right? Because you're +2. Yeah, you matched it on delay, or you matched too slow of a button here and got killed. That's a problem. Like, that can be like a problem where, like, you learn the wrong lesson, like you mash and get counter hit, and you go, oh, guess it's plus. But no, you probably just mashed either too slow or mashed the wrong button right there. Yeah, so I think we have one really big thing. Like, I don't think there's gonna be too much more to talk about in this set. So far, it seems like this is really over centralizing the match right now. Is that the Charlotta just gets access to infinite block strings on you because you're being knowledge checked, right? I mean, we'll see. Is there anything else here? But I'm kind of assuming that's gonna probably be the big problem. Okay, yeah, got whiff punished on your far H. Yeah, I mean. Yeah, I think that's the big thing, right? I mean, I will say one thing also, just for Charlotta matchup advice, right? I do this all the time. I get it. It looks like she's going to the air, and when your opponent goes to the air, you want to stand. Don't do that. Do not do that. If you stand up in the demon flip, command grab whiffs. She can command grab out of this, and if you're crouching, it whiffs on you. And you're like +15. If you're standing, it grabs you. It's unblockable because it's command grab, and you take like 8,000 damage or something, depending on what resources she has on her. So definitely just always crouch the whole way through that demon flip animation. It can be hard to teleport sometimes, not when she goes orange though, right? Like here, the jumps don't do this. When you see this orange, you know it's demon flip. This isn't a jump. Just take the high. Yeah, the overhead does like no damage. Or if you're feeling, kind of saucy with it, you can 2-8. Like she has to wait a while, like 30 frames or something, before she can actually do any follow-ups out of this. So you can't just like 2H her out of it on reaction. But you know, you gotta be a little bit. It is. I don't know exactly how long she can before she can cancel into stuff here, right? But it's quite a while. Does it really not say here? That's interesting. I guess it depends because like she can delay it. But what is the earliest you can cancel out of it? Not certain. Regardless, it is. You can certainly react and 2H her out of this, right? Or again, if you're not feeling confident, just down back and take the overhead. It's like 900 damage. And it's a knockdown. Who cares? So it's fine. But yeah, standing up into that could get you killed. So that one's plus. Again, you see the difference there? 6 slashes plus 3 slashes minus. The EX one is, you know, you just have to hold that, but it spends a cooldown, so it's not that big of a deal. I mean, I like what you're doing with the cat. I think I don't think there's. I really think I almost want to like start. I'm gonna take a quick cursory look at the rest of this, but like I feel like you're actually playing CAG pretty decently. You just have no idea that this isn't an infinite block string, right? DP the jump if you have one. That'll be an easier reaction. It's a good point, Ophidian. Yeah, I mean CAG doesn't. But I mean if you have 50, I guess at that point you can react 1 frame before it hits you and you'll be fine. Whereas with the 2H you have to react more like 10 frames before it hits you. So DPs are certainly a lower reward way to do that. Okay, so this is another thing. I will say if you block the demon flip, they have kind of made it so that like everything LDP. I mean yeah, at that point LDPs are invincible in like frame 6 or 7 or something usually, or is that M? Or L's not invincible at all. I, as a character without a meterless DP, I don't understand them quite as well as I probably should. But everything out of Demon Flip basically is plus after the Suja patch. They made the low, so this thing isn't, right? But they made this thing was pretty much always plus, and they made the low here plus as well. This is also plus now. So if you block a strike that isn't the overhead, L is not invul. Oh, okay. But yeah, you just get to react quicker. Yeah. But yeah, so if you block anything out of this Demon Flip, just be sure your DP isn't a parry. True, because then the command grab will kill you. Yeah. But in CAG's case, the toilets could work. You just have to spend your 50 meter. But yeah, just in general, if you block anything out of that Demon Flip, she's plus. That's why obviously the best solution is to 2H her or anti-air her out of it, right? But again, it's better than standing up and taking the command grab, certainly. If you don't feel confident 2Hing, you should just take the pressure. And then if they do it 2 or 3, 4 times, start to abuse it, then it'll be easier to react to, right? You'd have to stop her eventually. You can't just keep going plus into plus into plus if you just use a cooldown, especially if you're real slow on it. Yes, I think I'm gonna kind of put this on double speed right here real quick, just because I want to see if there's anything else. I think you're playing a fine CAG in this matchup. I think you're just getting yeah, that's plus. You don't know that, right? She has minus there, but you covered it with parry. Sure. I feel like there is obviously you really did identify the big problem in this when you asked earlier about the Sword of Lumiel block strings, quote unquote. Okay, I like the teleport out of the corner. That's nice. I think you're keeping her away from you pretty well, right? Like this, you're playing the matchup quite well. It's just that once the CAG gets on you, or the Charlotta gets on you, it's like an instant lose button because you don't know how to deal with her offense at all, right? And back throw's bad. Okay, I like the brave counters. I like this. You gotta okay. Interesting. Did you spot dodge the Excalibur right there? I think you did, right? Because yeah, you acted out pretty quick right there. You do want to, you want to block it and then spot dodge it on the way down. Okay, yeah, sure thing. Double speed Grand Blue looks so... I'm such a freak, this looks normal to me. Yeah, good job not mashing on that anymore. Oh, yeah, I heard... So, I mean, this is another thing too. Charlotta's DP is unfortunately big cheater DP. You can close H this, I think. That should be like -9 or something. How fast is CAG close H? Is your close H too slow to do that? I know Ladiva's certainly is, but I actually don't know how fast CAG's is. 2.0 feature, 2x speed mode. I'll finally be able to be a top player. Because then everyone has to play like, they have to play on my turf. Oh, 9? I think light DP can be -8 sometimes. Yeah, you might, so yeah. That's another thing about Charlotta too. Her DP is a big cheater DP. It is incredibly, like, not minus on block. It goes anywhere from like -8 to -11, depending on the version and the height and stuff like that, right? So probably better to just medium this. Your mediums should always work. If you're really unconfident, you can certainly do lights, but... Okay. I like how you're playing otherwise, though. Most characters can't close 5H Charlotta. You have to have an 8-framer, I guess. Yeah, I mean... Again, I think you really just... you knew what was up, right? Like, you asked about it. Like, you well identified properly the problem here, right? There are a couple of things you didn't know in terms of, like, what to do about Demon Flip and what to do about her DP. In general, again, right? Don't stand up into Demon Flip. I still do that shit, still, because I'm an idiot, be better than me. 2H it, or take the overhead, right? And then for DP, her DP is like, -8 to -11. I think M is like -11, and all the other ones like -9, -8, depending on how they hit you. So in general, you know, hit your mediums on that shit, not your heavies. But obviously the big thing, real quick, one more time, is that Sword of Lumiel, if she goes 1, 2, 3 and it starts up quick, that's light, that's -2. Mash your lights though. She's not super minus, she's only -2. If you match a medium and she matches like her far light and you have like an 8 frame, if you have like a 9 frame medium, or if you're a little bit late, right, then you'll lose. So match like your 2L or your far L when you're in that situation. Besides that, the medium one, it's very easy to tell them apart once you know what you're looking for, right? Because the medium one, not only does she like really drag her sword into it, it also is literally double the length. And the voice line too, she goes way crazier. She goes like, "Duh," and shit like that, right? So if you see 6 slashes, she's +1. You know, you gotta deal with that. Time change, night stream start an hour earlier for me. Nice. Oh, okay. Well, unfortunately, I think in November 3rd or something. In November 3rd, I think it's gonna change back for me. Can you sort of fuzzy the LM slashes? Yeah, I mean, yes, yeah, you should be able to, right? Because the M1 starts. I think it's a little bit, you know, I don't really want to advise them to fuzzy match. I mean, Kurisu right now, I would definitely advise to fuzzy match this, because Kurisu I think is S+ or S++ or something like that, right? But you can. I mean, this starts up in 7 frames. This starts up in 18, so you can certainly like delay. Like if you delay tech, this can almost hit it. If you're doing a little bit earlier, right? Like a slight delay into close out can certainly work. You can also like sort of delayed spot dodge on this too, but that's a little bit riskier, right? And there's counterplay. You know, Charlotta can do auto combo into like close H instead of, you know, doing Sword of Lumiel. But yeah, if she's just gonna do this or this 11 frame gap right here is definitely enough to fuzzy it, right? To fuzzy match it. But in general, at the very least, right, at the level that you're at in this replay, and if you're watching this and you're at this level in this replay, at the very least, if you just see her go 1, 2, 3 and end, she's minus. Take your turn. If you see her do all the things, M is double the startup of L, almost triple. Yeah, so there you can definitely you can like see it on startup and in the animation. There's ways to counter M as well, right? You can spot dodge it. You can mash on it, certainly. Yeah, but at least for the light ones, don't get infinited by the light slashes. Do your best. But yeah. Besides that, I think honestly, like your CAG looked pretty, like the CAG stuff and like the general, like your game plan and your approach to this matchup, I feel like seems pretty okay. Again, maybe like a higher priority on like once you get people in the corner, setting up your cage, putting the traps in, doing all that. But I feel like you did fine. It's just, again, like there were like 3 really big knowledge checks, especially the Sword of Lumiel that kind of killed you. But again, good to know too. It's good that you identified the problem yourself too, right? It's a good sign, certainly. Okay, so let's see. 2B is also a weird character. So they said like that they didn't even have quite as much of an opinion. They just said, I just don't know how to fight 2B. Can you tell me what's wrong, right? If I remember correctly. What did they say here? They said, for the matchup, I just don't face 2B a lot, so I'm unsure how to compete due to 2B's range in general seeming superior to CAG's. Thanks in advance. Yeah, so this is an interesting one, right? Because 2B, unless you're a very specific kind of character, 2B kind of forces everybody to play her game. That's one of the reasons she's so good. Because essentially with 2B, you are... Again, there are some characters, but essentially you are just not going to beat 2B in neutral. Good luck. You can try. I'm rooting for you. You know, I'm your biggest fan, but you're not gonna do it. So usually it feels like what ends up having to be done with 2B in my experience. To be fair, I play Ladiva, so it's even more true for me as a character with like probably the worst neutral in the game. It might not be quite as one-sided as I'm making out to be, but oftentimes when I see other people play Ladiva too, or sorry, play other characters into 2B, you kind of have to like let her, you know, win the neutral, let her burn herself out, you know, run her pressure with her skill gauge, get her plus frames, whatever. And then once she's out of skill, her pressure becomes a lot more linear, and or she has to either take really big risks or give you your turn back, essentially, right? So and especially now they changed it so her witch time can't punish 6XL. So if this is a little bit of a more, if you could picture this in my head, that you probably don't need this replay review. But you know, like again, 2B, you know, she'll be out of skill, and then normally her only remaining like safe-ish combo ender is the drone. The drone's -3. You can 6XL that pretty easily, but if you do, she might witch time you. She might like parry it and go back. They changed it in the Versuja patch so that she is not plus enough to actually punish your 6XL anymore. So like she can sure take her turn back, but it's the risk reward is kind of in your favor there, right? Because you can also bait out that dash with a lot of different things. So again, the general game plan with 2B, to answer your like question here, is usually it's kind of current objective survive, right? 2B doesn't hit super duper hard, and again, she's the only character in the game basically that can run out of pressure for a good while, but you're gonna have to let her take her turn at least once, almost all the time, which is what makes her so strong, in my opinion, right? So that's kind of the idea here. Now, you can certainly try, right? CAG's got some nice buttons, but it's probably safer to just like genuinely, if you like round start down back against 2B and go from there, right? That might not be a horrible idea. It might be being a little bit too submissive, right? But, you know, maybe do it a couple of times and then, you know, catch her off guard in one of the rounds where you've been a good girl for so long and then you suddenly get aggressive, right? Because the other thing about 2B is that the way they kind of balance this character, or, you know, I know some people are gonna laugh when I say that. I think she's strong, but I don't think her design is inherently broken or anything. The way that the idea with 2B is that she has quite bad defense in the sense of like her buttons aren't amazing to match on defense, and she doesn't have a 6 frame, she doesn't have a 5 frame light, and her DP is not super great and also very resource intensive. She has no meterless DP, and her DP costs her 4 skill. So the idea is that once she runs out of skill and you take your turn back, you're supposed to kind of bully her from there. It doesn't end up working quite as well as another reason you can't really fight 2B in the neutral is this fucking thing right here, right? Like, good luck. You can't anti-air the bitch either, right? So, like, you kind of, like, it's better, I think, to just, like, let 2B take a turn without hitting you first, and then try, like, outlast her, and then go from there, right? Of course, it's gotten a little bit harder in the patch, because they gave her that little, the Wheel of Pain, as I like to call it, her little Volt thing, right? Also, I want to look back at the actual, I've been talking more general and haven't been looking at the actual match enough just yet, but they gave her that little Volt thing, right? Which is quite scary, but at the same time, it also costs a shit ton of skill. It costs like 5 skill. So even though that, you know, that can lead to big damage and scary pressure with throws and stuff like that, if you survive that, she's like basically out of skill already, right? Yeah, again, like, you know, you want to, 2B has a lot of ways to like hit you for being a fool from full screen. So again, I think you want to play a little bit more passively in that case, right? Again, Kag is not a zoner. There are certain characters that can try to fight 2B in the neutral. Kag has good buttons, certainly, but you're not 2B, right? So I think, like, this kind of is the idea. And if the 2B, so, you know, good 2Bs will not just use all of their skill options and then all of their non-skill options. They will mix it up. But again, if you catch them doing an option that doesn't cost skill, chances are it's a good chance for you to try to take your turn back, right? Like, if they have full skill and they, like, end in drone or something like that, or they end in the baseball swing, those are windows for you. The baseball swing, most characters, except for, like, Ladiva, I think, can roll through it and punish. Or at the very least, roll through it and take their turn back if you react, right? You can bait that too, but again, you know, she's RPSing on her own offense in a way that might not be good for her if she doesn't use the skill gauge moves. I think you got clipped by the JH right here, right? Yeah, I mean, again, anti-airing. I'm gonna go back. Yeah, it's happened twice now, right? Anti-airing 2B is kind of a fool's errand. You can certainly try. You can certainly try. If you have a really high-reaching DP or something, or like a really high-reaching 2H, like Siegfried is the example for both of those, really. Then sure, but yeah, I would not recommend it. That is a Smash Bros ass neutral air if I ever did see one. And usually challenging is going to get you killed. So just, you know, again, if you just block it and wait her out is the best strategy that I've come up with against this lady. She is very good, though. There's no doubt. And again, you know, it's not like Kag has the world's most sterling defense. But, like, you know, generally I found that just basic defensive options like delay teching and stuff like that, and like, you know, sometimes fuzzying some high lows and all that can get you pretty far against 2B. Her offense is not the scariest thing in the world, realistically. She has the umbrella stuff on Wake Up. That's about as bad as it gets. To be fair, that is quite tough, but besides that, there's nothing too bad. Okay, DP, sure. Yeah, so, yeah, perfect, right? So if you see, so again, 2Bs will not always, like, to make sure, this to be clear, what's going on, Fox? Good 2Bs especially, are not always just gonna, like, spend all their skill gauge and then be like, uh-oh, guess my turn's over. They will use the, like, the no skill options a lot. But when you see that, that's your turn. So I love you matching far H after this, right? Like, I feel like you got, like, a lot of the right ideas already, honestly. How much does Kag use BC? A ton in the Charlotta matchup. We'll see how much they're using it against 2B. But they're using it a bunch against Charlotta for the wrong reasons. They're using it on light Sword of Lumiel. But BC has not been something that's been out of their mindset, certainly. That was really good. Again, that's the exact thing I'm talking about, right? 2Bs will try to, like, use non-skill options to give themselves time to cool down. If you see that, though, take your turn, right? Almost none of those non-skill options are like safe ways to continue pressure. I mean, they can be safe, but like not going to continue. They're either not safe or they're not going to continue her pressure, right? She either gives up her turn or she takes a risk. Like with the baseball swing, for example, she can be plus off that, but again, you can also get punished off that if you roll it and hit her. At the very least, if you're late, you can roll that and take your turn back. Okay, DP a lot. This 2B is DPing a lot, certainly. Something to think about. I'm not quite so sure about that J2-2H, just because, like, yeah, like, you're kind of you're teleporting yourself into the corner a lot of the times. That's good. Getting out of it with it, that is much better use, certainly. Okay. What happened here? Why'd you get hit? She is minus. What did you do? Oh, you just delay. Okay, yeah, you just waited for a second. He's only -3 off this, right? So if you want to take your turn back, you gotta go. To be fair, it's very easy to see. Like, you got a long time to realize, oh, she's using drone, right? Bonk, bonk, bonk. Like, you got a long time to figure that out. But once you realize this, you gotta go, go, go. You gotta go, like, right now. If you wanna take your turn back. What I have to do to get my replay seen? Post it in the replay review channel and wait, unfortunately. I'm on August 26th right now. I don't get that much time per week to do it. So, it's in the Discord, the replay review channel, but I'm very behind. So I'm doing my best. People besides me will check your replays like the day you post them. But I'm a silly little goober. We're a little backed up. Yep. We're trying to get there, man. I'm trying to have Mondays be the day, but doing, an hour of replay review does not always work out too well. Okay, yeah. You're minus off after the far H right there. Honestly, overall, I don't think you're doing a horrible job, right? I think you're not being quite as decisive as you need to be, though. Right? Like, when 2B gives you a turn, you gotta take it, like, right away, essentially. Just because you will be blocking. For, like, this character does force you to block for a long time. And I think, like, a slight lack of knowledge is causing you to be a little indecisive about when to take your turn. Like, right there, again. If you ever see her using those no-skill options, go, man, go. Don't retreat. That was your chance. Because now you gotta see it. Now you gotta sit here forever, right? While she gives you another, and wait for her to give you another opening. Okay, I like the Brave counter. I mean, you can also, you can certainly steal turns back with that. Brave counter, always a good idea. Very strong mechanic. No one needs to tell you that, I'm sure. Putting in there is a good idea. My 1 from 2 months ago helped me a lot when he went over. It actually helped me get to master. Oh, I'm glad to hear, Ash. That's very nice. Whoa. What is happening here? I feel like you guys are... I mean, sure. I don't know that you... I know what you're trying to do. You're trying to, you're jumping back and then trying to teleport and put them in the corner, right? Sure, I mean, why not? I could piss them off, honestly. It's not a bad idea. As long as they only 2H for teleport once. As long as they're not, like, being... that I wouldn't do, though, right? I got teleport to put them in the corner, not yourself. Worked out, though. Sure. Like, these cross-ups that put you in the corner... I know, yeah, you're trying to go into the traps. I get it. But, like, I don't know if you want to do that, necessarily. Like, if you can get 2B in the corner without having her burn her skill gauge out first, then, you just skip to your win condition. So there's no need to get her out of the corner for free if she gets in there. Nice. Yeah, you are dead, unfortunately. What happened here? You just tried to jump out? Oh. I can't tell. You didn't get air on block. I think you just weren't blocking on landing. I think you tried to jump again, right? Yeah. I think you just tried to jump again right there. Yeah, but playing a little bit, like, in general, playing a little bit more passively in the neutral there. Because the game simplifies a lot. Even if it does go into 2B's favor, the game does simplify a lot when you're just blocking her hits. Your decision tree gets much smaller on defense than it does in neutral. That's why neutral is so complicated. Playing a little bit more passively in neutral, only like going in if the 2B gives you like big openings, or if they're playing equally passively or something, right? It's probably a good idea. As well, like trying to anti-air her a little bit less too. Yeah, the thing's always gonna be plus, by the way. That JH is like always gonna be plus, man. You gotta be careful with that shit. Okay, good. Yeah, I get Brave counter to sneak some turns back isn't a horrible idea, certainly. I like that. I like to teleport out. They could have mashed out. They tried to mash out. They're a little bit late, though. Yeah, smart to roll there. Again, 2B wants to get back to neutral as soon as she can, right? Because that's where it's incredibly favored for her. I mean, obviously, if it's her turn. I'm saying, like, getting out of the corner for her is doubly good. Because resetting to neutral is actually resetting to advantage for her. Sure, not bad. Overall, I think I like what I'm seeing here much more than the Charlotta game, even though you seemed more lost talking about this one. Yeah, again though, right? We talked about multiple times, but like this is minus, man. You can spot dodge and make it even more minus, but the timing is a little bit finicky, and you can get hit out of the end of your spot dodge if you're too early, right? You can make this like +6 or something, I think, if you spot dodge it on the right timing. But it's also like a hard call out kind of. But at the very least, you're +3 here, right? Also, I just want to... I'm, like, almost certain that I'm correct, but there's, like, something that's nagging in my head that's telling me that I'm spreading misinformation on the internet. I'm almost certain I'm not, right? But, yes. Oh, -4. Oh, okay. I thought it was less minus than I thought. No, it's more minus than I thought. Okay, yeah. So, right? Again, yeah, if you block this, man, it's your turn. Go for it. You're being, like, there's a couple times now you've blocked it and jumped back. No. You don't want to be here against 2B. Like, I know you think you might, because, like, you're Cagliostro, but no. The best place for basically anyone in the game against 2B is to be right on top of her face, right? Because, I mean, first off, yeah. It's probably obvious from watching it, but, like, good luck zoning that, right? if I can go like frame by frame, how many frames does she take to get to you, unironically, right? Like, she's fast as fuck and has good normals, right? Like, so we're talking like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26 frames before she's basically right in your face. This dash from full screen is like damn near unreactable. Right? 26 frames is like not the easiest reaction in the world, right? That's near 6xm. People get hit by her. People get hit by that, right? Like, her dashing in on you from full screen is damn near unreactable. It is reactable. Like, 26 frames is not an easy reaction at the very least. So like, you don't want to be at full screen there. That is where she wants to be. Nothing to be scared of after that. She can DP, but it's not worth at all yet. So you want to be much more, yeah, so these two, I mean, we've seen these a couple times now. These projectiles, she can choose to not fire, to be fair. Like, you know, call her out for the layer 1 at least, and then have her bait you. Because if she doesn't fire, it's, you know, its own RPS. But you can roll through these and be pretty plus, right? Same thing with the baseball swing. She can choose to miss it, so like bait your roll sometimes as well. But again, roll through these on a basic level. Those are her other like non-skill gauge consuming enders, and they are, while they are plus if you block them, they're actually more risky for her than the pod, because you actually can't straight up roll and you know, sometimes kill her for it. If she likes to run from full screen, so one of the options is to sit on a trap. Yeah, it's fair. I'm liking your use of Brave Counter, certainly. Oh, yeah. Again, if 2B is in the air, man, unless you're like a god of anti-airing, or you're playing a character with very strong anti-airs, honestly both, then you probably wanna, for the most part, be very, very careful actually trying to call her out there. Combination of double jump and JH makes her very hard to stop. Oh, go! Almost a crazy pickup on that trap too. Okay. Yeah, so from that distance, pod is a little bit rough, certainly. You're +4, but again, you're basically resetting back to neutral there. You're not close enough to take your turn back, but it's not usually gonna be like that. Yeah, these you gotta roll through. Oh, they're 2H in that now. Yeah, I think you should be dead. Yeah, she got really good 2H too, right? Which again, like, yeah, in general, right? I think the moral of the story here for 2B is stop trying to win neutral, basically. Again, I know it sounds crazy, but stop trying to win neutral unless it's like really obvious that you can. Like skew yourself much more towards playing a lot more passively in the neutral and waiting for the 2B to either fuck up or take their turn. Right? If they fuck up, then perfect, amazing. But otherwise, let them take their turn, kind of burn them out of skill gauge. If they're doing the non-skill options while they still have skill gauge to try and like bait you, then, you know, if they do pod, you gotta take your turn back. They decide to end their turn early, right? And of course, again, if you take a turn back with 6XL, they can try to bait it out with her witch time. But one, that you can't punish that anymore, so it's less risky than it used to be to just dash L at her. And two, you can, if she does that every time, you can hard call that out with like a delayed 6XL and get a full combo. So it's not like an amazing thing for her to do necessarily, especially post nerf, right? And then if she does like either the little cannon that shoots out of her arm, or when she smacks it with the baseball bat, roll through those and take your turn back. Or if she's close enough and you're fast enough, punish her straight up, right? Those are her two like skillless enders, and neither of them are, but all of them should be your turn if you're on the ball, right? Otherwise, you know, if she does like rockets or hammer or something, block that shit out, wait for her to run out of skill, and then take your turn back. Because again, at that point, she'll be forced to do one of those skillless enders, right? And then you can take your turn, like we just talked about. So those I think are the big things, right? Like, when I say playing passively and neutral, by the way, I mean like, don't be doing all this jumping around and teleporting and shit, because 2B does have a very good 2H as well. He's got very nice buttons to smack you out of the air. He's got very nice buttons to smack you out of running at her. He's got double jump and JH as well, so don't try to anti-air her as much as you were doing. Again, play a little bit deferent to 2B, a little bit submissive to 2B in the neutral in general. Unless you're like, if your character has neutral that can fight 2B, you probably like know it already, right? You're probably playing like Siegfried or Nier or Belial or something like that, right? Like, if your character has like good enough neutral to try and fight 2B, you probably already know what I'm talking. Even like Belial's kind of a stretch, honestly, but he can certainly. But like, even that's a little bit of being a little bit generous to Belial, right? But there's a very small list of characters that can actually try and like genuinely fight this lady in the neutral, right? Like, you could argue like Dusoyas can just kind of sit there and force her to approach him, maybe, right? But like it's a real small list of characters that outside of like, you know, the pures, like, you know, Fairy's gonna have a hard time a lot of the times, I think. But yeah. Catalina 2B I feel like is actually one of, like, it might be kind of hard for Catalina, because it's one of the only matchups where she, you know, isn't the character with the best buttons on the screen, right? So, like, for the most part, play kind of submissive, let her take her turn, find the gaps in her turn, because she has built-in times where she just has to, like, you just can't keep her turn going, or she has to drain that gauge, right? It's very visually easy to see. And, yeah. Otherwise, I think you're doing some of that stuff already. You just have to, like, keep that in your mind, that what you were doing there was correct, and be much more decisive about it. When you see pod, when you see the projectiles, right? Roll for the projectiles, take your turn back on the pod. Don't be so hesitant. There are a lot of times where you blocked pod and, like, super jumped back. No, right? The bitch can, like, dash at you from full screen, and it takes, like, 20 frames to get there, right? It's like, it's a reaction check to, like, stop 2B dashing at you, right? It's like, she's one of the fastest characters in the game, and she can slide out of that dash into big normals, too. So you do not want, even as CAG, you do not want to be at full screen there. You want to be in her face, you know, taking advantage of, you know, what essentially her worst aspect is her defense, and, you know, putting her in the trap washing machine and killing her from there, right? But yeah, I mean, honestly, outside of, like, getting, I just got here, are you talking about being submissive to 2B? I mean, I know some of y'all are very interested in that, but I'm talking about in neutral, letting her basically, like, unless you're playing a very certain kind of character, you guys have to, like, let her win neutral and burn her out on her skill gauge, basically. Or take your turn back if try to conserve skill gauge with the less scary options. True, yeah. But yeah, I mean, honestly, pretty, not bad, I think. Like, pretty well played CAG overall for S rank. Just, it really is just knowledge, right? I think both of these, especially the Charlotta one, was really big knowledge checks. Like, it was, like, getting block string by L Sword of Lumiel over and over. Again, I mean, I'm sure... yeah, like Dragon mentions it right here. It's one of, like, at this point, Kurisu, I'm sure, knows this. It's been 2 months, right? But if you don't know any of the stuff that we talked about here, hopefully it's helpful to you. But yeah, that's gonna do it, I think, for the replay review there. Yeah, we'll do one more probably on stream here, and then we'll go play some Eustace, I think. But for now, let me send the VOD watchers on their way real quick. Like, so hello, VOD watchers, how's it going? Hope you had a good time with the video. If you did, any kind of, like, subscribes, comments, bells, all that is greatly appreciated. If you don't want to be, like, 2 weeks behind on when I'm filming these, make sure to come by and hang out on the stream as well. I stream on Twitch and YouTube every day from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. Eastern, except Fridays. So come by and hang out. I also have a Discord. You're looking at it right now. This is where these replays get posted. I am super duper duper hyper duper super behind, as you can see. Nerd. Yo, Mr. Quotes, thanks for the follow, man. August 26th. But if you want to post replays, I mean, it's more than just that, too. There's, like, a lot, you know, hang out, you know, share tech, make friends, all that, be nice, or I'll shoot you in the head in Minecraft. But if you want to post replays, you can see, like, even if I go to, like, a relatively recent one here that I'm gonna be getting to in, like, fucking December, right? But, like, yeah, like, you know, here's you know, Ingstrom posted one, it was 7th of October, to be fair, but, like, you see, like, right, people help out. The people, like, the community is great, honestly. Like, that's the one thing that makes me feel better. Yeah, this is, you know, from 2 weeks ago, 27 messages, right? This one got posted 4 days ago, 20 messages. This one got posted 3 days ago, and no one knows if I was probably this yet, but, you know, it was a weekend. You know, you give them some time. These are basically, you know, people are just volunteering their time to be helpful. But the point is, if you post the replays, I'm an asshole. I'm stupid. I'm gonna take a long time to get to them. But the community is very helpful, so I'd encourage you to do so if you feel like you need any pointers on your gameplay, right? But yeah, join the Discord. Most importantly, hope you had a great time hanging out today, as always. I know I sure did. Yeah, fun. Always fun doing these replay reviews. I mean, also it's fun seeing, like, people that I recognize Kurisu. I'm pretty sure they're not S rank anymore. They might even be, like, S++. I can't remember. I can't remember if they're still allowed in my intermediate bracket or not. At the very least, they're S+. I remember seeing that much. But yeah, having a lot of fun with Grand Blue. Gonna be a lot more coming your way. And until then, I will see you in the next one. Peace.